This is my Air Arms S400. It's a single shot version to the Air Arms S410. The 410 has a magazine, 10 shot. This is the single shot version. There's plenty of room to get your fingers in and a pellet onto the loading tray. There's a groove what the pellet sits into, and the bolt pushes it in. And this bolt, it's quite smooth action. It's had some work done on it, not by myself, it was a previous owner. Smoothed all the internals out, made it a little bit quieter as well. It's got some nice wood on it, I really like the wood. Some very nice checkering. This is the classic S400. The carbine version is a bit shorter, there's less air in the tube, a shorter barrel. I generally shoot about 50 shots, maybe 60, and then I'll refill with air. A few people have commented about this part here. It was there when I had it, so I've no idea if this is an aftermarket part, an add-on, or something that come with it originally when it was first bought. I've absolutely no idea. But the trigger, that's also had a little bit of work done onto it. They call it two-stage. In other words, as far as I'm concerned, using other rifles and shotguns, all it means is there's a bit of slack before you actually take up the trigger and fire the gun. It's adjustable, I do believe, but this particular trigger, it's nice and smooth. Call it crisp, you can call it all the sort of descriptions you want to, but for me it's a really nice trigger. This originally was bought as a ratting gun with a little bit of target use perhaps intended, but for the moment I'm not shooting rats, it's mostly used for targets, and I've set it up particularly for that. It's got a Leapers 8x32 56mm lens. It's a side focus and it's on sports match adjustable mounts. I can raise these or lower them down. And this is set up purely for target work at the moment, and it's quite nice. Underneath is a gauge. I tend to ignore this, it just gives you an indication of what air pressure is in there, if it's got some. I use the gauge on the air tank that I fill it with. I tend to fill to about 180 bar, 175 bar, and then just take about 50 or 60 shots and fill up again. But this just gives you a rough idea, a reminder there is air in there. Got a nice bit of checkering underneath as well, and there's a stud there. I can fit a bipod, so that's the underneath. Nice trigger guard, and it's Allen keys, not ordinary slotted screws on it, so a bit of thought has gone into making these rifles. There's a UNF adapter on the end, so I can try out a variety of different silencers. All my silencers are threaded. The filler at the end, it's got a cap that you unscrew and you push the filler onto it and then twist. There's some sealing rings and what they call a T-bar. You just push on, twist it around, held firmly in place, and then you fill with that. I find that the pistol grip is very comfortable. The checkering for a bit of extra grip. Nice reach to the trigger. This fits me rather nicely. It's a right-handed stock. It's got a sharp edge on the top of the cheek piece, so it's not really any good for a left-handed shooter. But it's nice grain. I really like this. Fitted with a normal, ordinary recoil pad and a spacer in there, so you can adjust if you want. Add a few more spacers, I suppose, to extend it a bit or even take it away. Some people put adjustable butt pads on, but this fits me just fine. I'm leaving it as it is. Identical checkering on the other side, and you can just about make out the loading port there, the cutaway. Plenty of room if you want to load it from left to right. With a large side wheel on this side focus scope though, I can't use it on the left hand side. and it feels a bit weird because I tend to cock the gun with my right hand and load with my left hand. It just feels awkward to actually load with the right side. Nothing really much to worry about. Again, the pistol grip, check ring, really nice. Here you see the flow of the stock where your hand fits, very comfortable for me. The shape of the cheek piece, as mentioned, for a right-handed shooter. This brings my face into the correct position for the eye position for the scope. As these mounts are though just a little bit higher than normal, being adjustable ones, I still find it comfortable even though the scope is just that little bit higher. Given the choice, I would use a 25mm scope on this, a 1-inch tube with low mounts. I much prefer to be well tucked into it, but it's still a comfortable position for the face on this cheek piece. I've tried this out now with a variety of different pellets. As far as accuracy concerned, it's generally a normal dome pellet that seems to work, and for power it seems to hover about 10.7 foot-pound to about 11.5 foot-pound depending on the pellet. There is a lot of variation and I'm still testing which is the best pellet for it so far. I've not come to a conclusion. I should get there in the end.